Welcome back everyone. So in this video I'm going to be going over my 335 Warlock, talking about some of the gear that I use as of the April update. Now my Warlock has actually been 335 for about a month now, so I've been the max light level cap for a while. I just never actually got around to making a video on this until now just because of time constraints. But here it is, my 335 Warlock. If you'd also like to check out my 335 Hunter and my 335 Titan, I have already made a video on those two which you can find a link to in the description box below. Anyway, let's take a look at my character now. So my Warlock is my least played character. As you can tell, I haven't even fully leveled up my Stormcaller yet. That just goes to show how little I actually play as my Warlock. Although I do actually play a fair amount, it's not like I completely neglect my character. I make sure to do my weekly bounties and stuff each week on all three characters. It's just that I really do not use Stormcaller at all. I much prefer Voidwalker and Sunsinger. Voidwalker for the life-stealing abilities and just being able to regenerate health, as well as the super. The Nova Bomb is probably my favourite of the three supers, it's just the most fun to use. And then Sunsinger for, of course, the Firebolt nades and the Flame Shield, as well as the self-rest capabilities, which comes in really handy for the Trials of Osiris. But for general Crucible, I tend to run with Voidwalker, just because I prefer Nova Bombing people. Anyway, moving on to my weapons now. These don't really change much at all. I've mentioned this in my previous video. I pretty much carry the same weapons across all three characters, although I do actually have quite a few weapons that are actually pretty decent, and I just don't use them. I should probably use them more. So for example here I have this 335 Grasp of Malok, which does not have a good roll at all, but the Grasp of Malok, I do have it, and I just never really use it. I think I used it for maybe 2 games, and I just couldn't really get used to it. Maybe I should just need to use it more, but I have that. I also have this Final Duty, which I recently got, and I'm looking forward to trying this out because this can have max stability. So I'll probably have to give this a whirl in the Crucible at some point, and it also comes with Spray and Play, which is nice for PvE. I also recently got this Lord High Fixer from a Crucible package, but it doesn't really have a good roll at all. It has Hot Swap, which is okay, Rifle Barrel, which is also okay, and Life Support, which is just terrible. It seems like whenever I get a Crucible package, Shaxx either gives me the worst, most useless armor in the game, or if I do get a weapon for once that actually could be decent, he gives me the worst rolls possible. I actually got a second Lord High Fixer after getting this one, and I thought, okay, maybe this one will be better, but nope, it was even worse. Then here, I've also got this Imago Loop, which I've actually had for months now, and I just never use it, but it's actually got a pretty decent roll. I quite like this. It has Triple Tap and Firefly, and in the middle column there's no particularly good perks, but there aren't exactly any terrible ones. It has Snapshot, High Caliber Rounds, and Will of Light, so not too shabby at all, I'll take it. This would actually make for a pretty good PvE hand cannon. I don't know why I don't use it more. I do have some more prime weapons in my vault which I would like to talk about and maybe make a video on at some point if I get the chance, but I'm not going to show them all in this video because I'll just be here talking forever. Anyway, moving on to my special weapon now. Again, 1000 Yard Stare is my go-to weapon for both PvE and PvP. I have 2 of them, one is Solar and one is Arc. One comes with Hidden Hand and the other comes with Mulligan, so I like to alternate between these two depending on the activity. I would really like either a longbow or an LDR, just anything, but Lord Shaxx or Commander Zavala do not want me to have any of these weapons. These are the weapons here, just some random weapons that I've got on me. I don't really know why these are here. I have this Crow's Eye, which is the Challenger of Elders sidearm. I never use this, it honestly looks like an ugly baby. Then I have this Split Shifter Pro, which I just got the other day. It's 334 and actually doesn't have too bad of a roll. It has Spray and Play and Rangefinder, which is always a really good perk for fusion rifles, and it also has Injection Mold, so this is definitely not too bad of a roll at all. I'm definitely going to have to try this out. I've been looking at using some fusion rifles lately, and so this could actually be worth looking at. And lastly, in my special weapons here, I have this Comedian, which I got from a Vanguard package, but of course it has a terrible roll. It has Grenadier and Danger Close, as well as Lightweight, Quick Draw, and Reinforced Barrel. Reinforced Barrel is the only semi-decent perk on this weapon. Now moving on to my heavy weapons, firstly we have Truth. This is one of the best PvP rocket launchers out there right now. I'm sure all of you watching this know what this is by now, you don't really need me to explain. It's a rocket launcher that can lock onto enemies, and rockets are proximity based. Anyway, here are some of my other heavy weapons here. I have this 335 Dragon's Breath, which is actually a really fun PvE rocket launcher. It's not exactly the most effective exotic rocket launcher, but it's definitely one of the more unique weapons and it's a lot of fun. Here is the super good advice, which I never use, but I will say it's probably one of the cooler looking exotics in the game. I absolutely love the design of this weapon with the red and white paint job and the 3 barrels. It's definitely one of my favourite looking exotics in the game. It's just so unfortunate that it's such a useless weapon. Here, of course, I have my Raise Lighter and my Sleeper Simulant on me. I'm always carrying on these 2 weapons with me. They're 2 of my favourite heavy weapons right now. I only have the Raise Lighter, but I would like to start working on the other 2 exotic swords once I get the chance. Whenever I'm doing PvE activities, I'll always run in with either one of these 2 exotics. They're just so powerful, especially the exotic swords. I honestly think the exotic swords could be considered the Yellowhorn of Year 2. They're just so powerful, they rip through everything. It's going to be pretty difficult for Bungie to top these. Then here I also have my Rune Wick, which I never use, but I keep it around just in case, and my DeviantArt stand, which is the Iron Banner machine gun. It has spray and play and crowd control, as well as hand-laid stock and reinforced barrels, so it's actually a pretty good roll. In fact, it could actually have max stability if I equip hand-laid stock and smart drift control, but that would mean it would literally have no range whatsoever. Moving on, nothing special with my Ghost at all, it's intellect discipline and generates additional glimmer when killing Cabal. So now let's take a look at my armour. Now I don't really have many customization options because most of my gear is either under 335 or just doesn't have the rolls that I want, and I'm pretty much forced to use the armour that I'm currently wearing. So starting off with my helmet, I have this Trials of Osiris helm, the Blind Jackal mask, which is 335 and has intellect discipline. It's pretty much the best helmet that I've got right now, although I do have this Keeper's Mind, which is the Challenge of Elders helmet, and it has intellect discipline. I just need to get it to 335, but this Keeper's Mind is probably one of my favourite looking legendary Warlock helmets as of right now. I do have the Pariah hood, which is the Lighthouse chest version of the Trials of Osiris helm, but it's only 332 and has discipline strength. So I never use this, but I'm waiting until I can get a better roll on this helmet. Here is the Light Beyond Nemesis, which is really good for the Trials of Osiris because it allows you to generate an extra orb and it allows you to be revived faster, and it also just looks really cool. It's one of my favourite looking exotic Warlock helms. I also have this Azoth Bend, which kind of has a weird design, but I actually quite like it. I like the design of the snakes on the helm. I don't know what it is, but I always tend to prefer some of the weirder looking designs, so this looks really cool to me. Unfortunately, it's discipline strength. In case any of you don't know what this helmet is, this is part of the PlayStation exclusive set and will come to Xbox at some point, probably in the next expansion. Then here is the Ram, which is good for increasing your armour, but I'm probably going to re-roll this using glass needles because it has strength and I would much prefer if it had either pure intellect or intellect discipline. And then finally here is the Stag, which I never use, but it's definitely one of my favourite looking exotics for my Warlock. It's also definitely one of the most unique looking exotics in the game, I must say. Then moving on to my gauntlets, nothing much to say here really. I have these Barkan June 1 currently equipped, which are the PlayStation exclusive gauntlets, and they look okay. They look a little bit generic and kind of like some of the blue gear in the game, but it's really all I've got right now, and it's only intellect strength. I do have these Spectre gloves which are 335, but they too are also intellect strength. Moving on to my chest piece now, I have the Keeper's Cloak, which is also from the Challenge of Elders. It has intellect discipline and is the only legendary chest piece that I've got right now, so I'm forced to use these. Although I do have these exotic chest pieces, the Heart of the Praxic Fire and the Purifier robes, which I must say look absolutely amazing. I love the look of these chest pieces, especially with some of the shaders that I've got, which I'll show you towards the end. Sometimes I'll just equip these chest pieces just for the sake of looks. The Warlock may be my least played class, but I have to give it to them. The chest pieces look amazing. Moving on to my boots, I have the Trials of Osiris boots, the Kingsfall Raid boots, and the Iron Banner boots, all 335 with intellect discipline and sniper ammo, so that's really good. I have a few to choose from if I ever feel like changing out my boots. Although more often than not, I tend to lean towards my Trials of Osiris boots, just because they tend to match my armour a lot better. For my class item, I'm currently wearing the Keeper's Dread, which is also from the Challenge of Elders, intellect discipline, and it looks really cool. I actually really like the look of this class item with these 3 massive spikes protruding from it. I do also have this Bond of the Guardians, which I tend to equip for PvE as well. This is probably one of my favourite class items in the game, at least currently. It's a part of the PlayStation exclusive set, and I really like it because it's a hologram of the Guardian's crest. Then I also have this Wolfswood Bond, which is the Iron Banner Bond, which I equip for the Iron Banner of course, as well as General Crucible because it increases my Crucible reputation gains. Then for my artifacts, I don't really have any particularly good artifacts. My only decent one is the one that I've got currently equipped because it has pure discipline, whereas the rest of my artifacts all have discipline strength. So at some point I'm probably going to try and get one with intellect discipline. Then finally for my Sparrow, I'm just using the Timebreaker because it's, I believe, the fastest Sparrow in the game still, and it's the one that you get from the Vault of Glass. Then for my ship, I'm using the Birth of History, aka the Space Bus. I absolutely love this thing, it's still one of my favourites, just because it kind of became an inside joke at one point during the early days of Destiny. So this has remained as one of my favourites, just because of how silly and ridiculous it seemed when Destiny first came out. Now let's take a look at some of my shaders real quick. The shader that I'm currently wearing is Palace Victorious. This is probably one of my favourite shaders. It's just such a delicious shader, that's how I would describe it, delicious. It's a tasty looking shader. I would lick that Guardian. Then I have this Dead Orbit shader, Bitter Steel, which makes you all black and white, which I think looks really good on Warlocks. Then I have the Feud and Fading shader, which makes you black and red. Then I have Amdur Ink, which is one of the Trials of Osiris shaders, which I think looks best on Warlocks. Then I have this Krokos shader, which is one of the Sparrow Racing League shaders, and it looks kind of weird with the purple, but I also really like it. Then I have Chancendi Guest, which I probably just butchered the name of, but this is one of the Crucible shaders. And finally here is Imogen's Fire, which is probably my favourite shader in the entire game. I absolutely love the colour scheme of this shader, especially on Warlocks and Titans. Also lastly for my emblem, I'm using the Sign of Opposing Will, which you get from the Bungie bounty, which I participated in very shortly after Destiny released, and it's probably one of the rarest emblems in the game. So that is it for my Warlock. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm also coming up on 50,000 subscribers soon, and I just want to thank you guys for your continued support. The channel's been doing really well lately, and it's just really nice to see that you guys are enjoying the content. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.